Let's make some content. Oh my god.
Let's do it. Hello. We have two people here. Ha-ah, if you're listening to the audio, you want to make a sound?
Cool.
It's Simcha. And
And Wolfpack.
and we're here to talk about what it means to be a sacred fool. I was about to say sacred pool. And so we're both coming from two different places. So I feel like we should just start with introduction because people on my Substack and podcast will hear me and not know you. And same, I mean, there are people that know us too. But do you want to start or do you want me to start?
How about you start?
Okay, great. Hi, I'm Simcha. I've claimed the role holy culturist, and I am an artist, a facilitator, space holder. My roots are like Kabbalah, Kundalini, and plant medicine ceremony and sound and art and things. Very sacred fully. You can find me at thisholylife.com. Holy spelled weird. It's whole and holy smushed together because I believe everything is whole and holy. And we just get to figure out how to navigate our way through. And I do a little mystery school thing and all sorts of stuff. A lot of it's involving Wolfpack as well. So that's me. If you wish to find me, there will be links and all the things. So just look around and poke around. All right, I'm gonna pass the ball to Wolfpack.
Oh, I caught it. Okay. Okay, my name's Wolfpack, and I claim the name Techno Shaman. And and my work is called Femme Feral, and it's very much about bringing that fool to life. Through healing. So what we do in my work is we do trauma healing and then we bring our gifts out. And to me, that has just been the medicine. It's been the way. I have a beautiful retreat center that we're building in Joshua Tree, and we invite clients out here to do gorgeous private ceremonies, and we dive deep into their shamanic work. So we get the trauma up and moving. That's been my personal path, and that's been the path I now wish to offer to others, and it's been going really well. I'm very excited.
It's really beautiful. History of Wolfpack and I, we met on the road in the time of traveling and also got to spend a whole entire summer and months. I mean, I spent time in Joshua Tree, but then also in Shasta and did traveling together and did that whole get up. And also we've gotten to have Wolfpack in the East Coast and do things with Wolfpack here, which was really beautiful this past summer. So I feel like our portals of the East and West will be creating something together. So let this prayer of the sacred fool that we're bringing forth, because it's just so us and the space between us, let it ignite the sacred fools and everyone that listens and anyone in anyone's life that's listening and anyone that's not listening. Let the echoes of it somehow happen because someone hands them a flower and then giggles and runs away like a little sacred fool. I don't know. Who knows what will happen? Oh my gosh, we don't even know. Okay, great. Um, so I thought we would start with the sacred fool of us like doing our best to define it.
Mm. Okay. Well, from my perspective, the fool is as least I start out with the tarot. So a lot of people know how it works in the tarot. It is the zero card. It's the first card, and the way a lot of practitioners describe that is it's the one who walks the path. So starting out with your inner fool, you are then like wide open to life, and now you're starting out, you're embarking on the path of the tarot up through magician, high priestess, and all the other major arcana cards, which represents an earth walk, like a lifetime on earth, moving through various mythic stages. And and then how we have it working in our work is just like the ultimate free expression. Like the closer you can get, and I find it goes with healing, right? The closer you get to full healing, like whole, like you're working with, the closer you can, the more safe you feel to be in free expression.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love the Sacred Fool and Tarot, and my I made an oracle deck for those who don't know me. It's called the Deck of Queens, and the Fool is broken up into I think it's five different faces. And I really feel like all of these archetypes are just different personalities and sides of us. Like I always like to bring in Metatron, like the Star of David, like expanded in all the different ways. And it's all the different perspectives in which we are. And I find that like the sacred fool, what I remember, it's like the feeling I get from it is as if we've never been hurt before. And it's like, the guy's walking with just like a sack of like, I'll be fine, it just is like going into like the wildness. He's like, whatever, I got this, whatever, it's like that type of courage of like, I'm so held and I am just going to let my heart lead me, and there's something about that. And there's a light side and there's a shadow side of it too, of like, sometimes like there's some naiveness in my sacred fool that could totally like has gotten me in trouble in the past. And I feel like I've developed it a lot to have some like protection in my fool. And in the same time, there's the other side of my fool. And I feel you speak to it too, of the fool is someone that is also the trickster in community, because they aren't what is that word called, indoctrined into a belief system. They have they're just in their own, like, I'm like a newborn flower and I don't know, like, I'm just, why are you doing something like that? And it's like, why would I not, like, this is what we do, like, why, but why? No one can answer the question.
It's like the Heyoka in Native culture where they poke at the narratives of the tribe. Yeah. And it reminds me of the little ones we see that come into our world, the young ones, and they're so wide-eyed. I just saw a reel the other day of maybe like a 4 or 5-year-old, and she's just preaching. She's like, we are here to do our soul's gift. We are here to be ourselves. You are a perfect child of God. Like, she just like, I'm like, they know what's up, dude. They come in fresh, and I feel like we should shield them from all the bullshit messages. And it's like, how do we retain that? That's like, I feel like, and then we get indoctrinated, we go to school, we go to work, we think we're supposed to do this whole other thing. And then people like us, we start undoing all of that to come back to that inner child, basically. And it's like, if we could just skip that middle part and stay fresh. I also think, though, it's a mythic walk of life. I don't think it's just this modern culture. I think this is something that happens in all cultures. This, like, a rite of passage. You become more serious about your life.
The way showers.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you have to, like, remember how to play again.
Totally. I feel like there's people who are called to practice and play with the sacred fool for life. And I think that's part of like some people's works. I think it's mostly the space holder works, because we're constantly like, oh my God, like it's all love. Like we just have to keep going back to like, not being complicated as we're holding space. And I heard something the other day that was like, there's something of like the way showers that just are kind of on the edges and fringes to show another way that could be possible for people to exist besides every mundane reality of what they see.
Exactly. And I feel like they are the party showers, or like the most expressive guy at the ecstatic dance, or like there's like a role in it, what you're saying, or the clown. So in Joshua Tree here, I have a number of friends in like the clowning scene and the circus vibe, and this one that sticks out to me. I'm just gonna name drop Sergio, because he's like shows up at the party, he's on the dance floor, and he is like he is full expression. There's no holds barred, and I've had to like channel him on different dance floors as I work through my own blocks to come to that. Because if you show up as that guy, you will be amazed. Like the entire crowd will light up around you. Like it is just a way to walk life that will, I think, pave a yellow brick road in front of your feet. Like it's so. I think that's the message of the tarot card, is that if you do that, I mean, we can go into this further. I have so many ideas about this, but if you do that way, the world seems to reward it, even despite all the conditioning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we are both speaking into the next prompt that we've both come to, is like the wisdom we've gotten from the fool, and like the ultimate goal of ceremony was your note of this. And I love that. Like the ultimate goal of ceremony is to find the sacred fool with its inner child. Like,
And that's our particular, the one we walk together with the Mount Shasta family, and our particular brand of ceremony seems to be ultimate self-expression. The same ceremony as we have at Rainbow Gathering. This is like, it's not this like somber like we do healing work, and then it's also let's play as big and wild as we can, and it feels like the goal is to see who can shake the hardest, who can drum the loudest, who can send it into the channeling space where, and it's very much a channel, right? When you're really tapped into the universe, full play, you're not worried about what to say, you're just reacting and flowing in the natural way. And that's like my goal of ceremony. Like, how can I be so in tune with my body that, and that's what you brought up as embodiment, that I'm like then letting my body lead the whole way.
Totally. Yeah, the sacred fool is embodiment. I feel, you know, there's the wisdom of the sacred fool of like I don't know anything. And then there's the experience of experiencing like, oh my God, what if what I believed isn't true? And something really specific in our own mindset. And I think that's what's really powerful about the ceremonies we hold, is that it's like individual space for each person to get to that thing that is like a block or in the way of their purity and innocence being seen and expressed or owned or felt or whatever that is. It's just something in the way, you know? And like it takes a little sacred fool to be like, I don't know what it is, but let me figure it out. And like all of a sudden we're like, oh my God. And it's like you find like the golden nugget of like, it's just this one action that happened. Oh, I forgive it. And then it like relieves in the whole entire body, you know? Like it's just the sacred fool is also such a nice tool to use in navigating body scans for me, you know, and like navigating my emotions, navigating like me taking something personal about someone else and being butthurt about something. Like when I can be a sacred fool, I don't take it so seriously because I'm like, oh my God, they have a whole entire life they're worried about too. Like I am not the center of the world. Like, okay, cool. Let me come back for a moment, you know, like whatever that sacred fool of like, there's so much biggerness happening than like them
Right.
saying the wrong word in the wrong way to you or whatever, you know?
Well, that brings us to our blocks around it. You were mentioning when people come up against the wall of how to relate to this, how to find their true self. I mean, I have had such a hard journey, and it's still happening right now, with being confronted with that fool, or someone's really sparkly. My friends in the clowning community, they'll come up at the music festival, they're in full clown drag, they got like giant like hammered plastic hammers, like, you know what I mean? And this hammer's called Bad Boy, and they're like pound down their hand, like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? And like,
Oh my God, what's gonna happen?
I'm just like, for me, like, I'm still working on that. I'm still healing through that. I have moments where I'm that fool, and then I have moments that are so serious and so internalized and so stuck, and they're behind trauma. And that's important to realize that is, I want to give some grace for those who are so trapped in it, because I have been. Where it's like you could have the sparkly. I've triggered people by being so sparkly. You know what I mean? And when the sparkly guy comes
You
up,
are so sparkly.
oh, thank you. But when I act that and someone's in trauma fear, they even more clench up. So it's not always being the clown to get them out. Sometimes the clown can like put people off when they're too trapped. So I want to explore like some gentle approaches.
Sacred fool, if I am embodied instead of just like there's something I think that there's two pieces here. The block of like, let me just jump into sacred fool without being conscious to the space around me, because it's pretty, you know, like, and being compassionate to like that feeling of like, I feel like I have to go in a fucking closet to scream fuck right now to get, you know, like, because we don't want to trigger someone and their stuff, or like I feel like I can't fucking be weird, you know, like there's all those triggers too. If I can't be happy because I'm gonna trigger someone. So like being compassionate to all of those pieces and parts of us, and also in the same breath, like if we were to be as if we were never like hurt before, like that's a sacred fool, you know. It is. I just hold so much grace to like I keep getting this recently I've been having this trigger come up, and it's weird because I thought I was so over it, but it's caring what people thought about me. And I'm like, I got face tattoos and like really stick myself out in just about everywhere. Like I make myself pretty known that I'm a little different, you know, like whatever that is. And yeah, you too. Like we just, you know, you can't, I'm not whatever. So I'm something that I thought I have worked through it, but there's something to like jumping so far into it that it's like, okay, but how can I care about how people think about what they think about me in a high way, and like wanting to evolve way, like not being someone that's being in disservice to humanity. Like, how can I be kind? And so for me, in that question, it's had me loosen up around other people that have felt really intimidating, to be like, maybe I can just try and engage with this. Like, maybe I can just try and have a conversation. Maybe I can try and smile. Like, or recently, just smile. Like, smile at them. Like, hey,
Are you talking about working with someone who's really trapped inside?
totally trapped, or as well as the really shiny person and I'm triggered, like just to literally like be like, cool, how can I engage with this? If I feel my, like, I can either shut down or I can be compassionate and just be like, and just like meet them with a smile and be like, what are they gonna, they're not gonna hurt me or any, like they're just too shiny for, like I just be like, hi, whew, good to see you. And then can I just like let it go and go back to my life or something? Like I don't even have to gauge any further.
That's like the question to ask yourself if you're one that feels very nervous at the party or the dance floor, or is like, what's the worst that could happen? You know what I'm saying? Is anyone really at the ecstatic dance, this loving group of hippies, gonna go like, you're the worst, I hate you, you look terrible, and I wish you didn't say hi to me? Like, no one's gonna do that, right? Like, they're gonna be like, oh my god, welcome to our party that we've been waiting for you to come.
Welcome home is what
welcome home. We've been waiting for you. And that's like a really tender, I had a moment here in Joshua Tree where I spent like a number of parties, like 5 or 6, it was like a year-long stretch of going to these beautiful parties that I felt like they were my vibe, but I wasn't really connecting, and I was like a wallflower, and it was like so painful to sit. And then, by the time I actually engaged with the beautiful sparkly people I saw, it was like they've been waiting for me. They're like, they keep saying, where you been? And I'm like, that hurts. Like, it makes me want to cry, because I'm like, well, I've been at home worried that I'm not good enough. And while I've been doing that, life has been happening. And I've been over here. And that's okay. Like, everyone needs their season to come in and incubate, but it does feel heartbreaking when you realize that what you were worried about is everyone wishing you were there.
Totally. And the other part of it is when someone's in their trigger, like, how can I love it and not need to fix it and just like be in my own? And like there's a thing of like, sometimes saying the sacred fool thing is not really the time to say the sacred fool thing because of how the person is. So like, how to be with that moment, I'm being more curious about, because I feel this desire sometimes just to be a lightness in mood, and sometimes just me like humming in the space is helpful, or like moving in the space is helpful, or singing to the space, or talking to the animals or the trees or objects around me in prayer. Just like speaking into the space can like automatically light up anyone in it who's had, because they hear the same prayer, and like it doesn't have to be directed towards that person, like just existing in the space with them and holding them with grace can allow some falling down of whatever those things are for them to be more curious with themselves, I find.
Yeah, you're speaking to like acceptance, really, like accepting. It's like the same thing we have to do if we we hate our situation, we really want it to change. It's like the paradox is that you have to accept it first.
Totally.
And so us accepting them and giving space, like I think it's probably better to go up to the scared person and ask like, hey man, how you been lately? Like just really tap in the heart, than to go up to them with a whole clown vibe. That's not gonna work. Like, so it's a very gentle.
Like, what you worried about? The world's on fire.
Come on, why aren't you coming to dance with us? Like that's just gonna make them more feel isolated. And so this is a really interesting topic because it speaks to what we do at ceremony. How do you guide someone to gently get out of their comfort zone while not pushing them out of the plane, really?
Yeah. And I think, you spoke to acceptance, but there's something to, I've been practicing a lot of communication of how do I hear someone, and then how do I tell them back that I heard them? Like instead of me just thinking of, well, I'm going to come back with this, or I'm going to respond with this good. Like, how can I actually be with them to absorb a piece of them, to be like, I'm going I really hurt you. And to be able to then relate to them in that way. And so when I think of you were asking that question, it's almost like to be able to actually drop in and just to be able to ask if like anything and just listen, you know, and if they're open to a question.
I'd love to summarize what the stuck person want. They want to be heard. They want to be accepted for where they're currently at, and they definitely don't want to be rushed. I know I've had friends try to rush my healing. Why can't you just be happy? And it just doesn't help a depressed person.
Totally.
Not at all. And so,
Please write that down if that's you.
yeah. And there's a difference between, I would love to get into the mechanics because the difference between PTSD and depression. There's like, I'm sad and I'm going through my own mental stuff in life. I'm not happy with myself right now. And then there's PTSD, which has been more my experience. And that is like, from personal experience, a debilitating state of, I would love to hug you right now, but I actually can't. Like, my body is so terrified that if you give me a hug, I'm either going to start trauma healing if you're safe enough, or I'm going to, like, go worse into freeze. It's a very, so I, and so far I've been my worst trauma case to heal. But I guess that's good. So I'm still like learning the ways to work with that type of energy at ceremony. I've had people so far that are very willing to heal and ready to go, and we can release that easily because they're willing. But for someone who's like, for example, I had a friend who came to my drum circle 4 times without touching a drum. And it really, like, she wouldn't touch the drum because when she was little, she was criticized for making a loud sound. Yeah, so I want to brainstorm because I still don't, I'm not quite sure how to work with something so repressed that you won't even begin the participation in my experience. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I can say that there has, in my experience of, I've held these different workshops that are based off of S, that are leadership transformational experience workshops, that was really interesting to witness people in participation and how people can be in contribution and how people are in experience, because there are those who need to come and just be in the space for an amount of time, and we get to just trust that they're getting the energy of whatever's happening in the space, and they're not here to be the actual physical people yet. It's always just like a not now. And then the other thing is that there's something to the presence and what's happened. Like, they're getting a lot, they're also giving a lot that's just not in that, whatever that energy is that they're giving. Like, it's the same thing. I always find interesting what they're actually taking away, because they continue coming back.
Yeah, they keep coming back, right? So there's something.
They want to, they love it, like, I think of people who are like, I come to dances all the time, they never dance. They just sit there and they just want to like social, they just love the energy, and they're like, yeah, and they just sometimes get over there like, and they go back to like drinking chai or something, and they're just like, they're social butterflies, and that's just their role.
Maybe there's nothing to be done because, and also the format of both ecstatic dance and our ceremony is ultimate freedom. If it's ultimate self-expression, then you are also just as allowed to be completely silent. You're allowed to meditate and sleep and whatever you need. So it has to, I guess that's why we call it space holding, because it's not participation forcing. It's holding open a container in which people can do what they please.
Yeah. Yeah. And I find that like the really interesting people that I get the coolest feedback from are the observers. Because because I'm so in the middle of everything, I somehow get really close to the observers too. And so both, like, I have both edges of that for some reason, because I'm not really in the middle that much. I'm either like fucking facilitating, or I'm like deeply like connecting with one person or something. Like, it's like, so those are my roles. So I find it interesting, like, where do we all connect? Like, I could be in the center and at the edge. There's a lot of people who just sit in the middle. There's a lot of people who would never become facilitator. They won't give themselves that role, even though they so are in the space. Like, everyone could play every role, but there needs to be the person praying. There needs to be the person that's connecting. There needs to be the other people, like, I think of the rainbow gathering I was at. There was one guy who like just Sure, you know him, just sitting there on a blanket, just wearing, the orange, I can't think of what the outfit's called, and just prayed the entire time. And the entire time people would come up and give him everything he needed because he was just channeling the whole time, and like it was perfect. He had the perfect role. Everyone had a powerful experience with him. But did he contribute at all to like any of the food being made? No, he didn't need to. He was like literally like it's like your dream of like let me drum for hours and can you give me rub my feet and my hands and feed me.
Works. People come
Okay.
up, they massage your shoulders, they put joints in your mouth, they feed you
Totally.
water.
Do
I would usually
everything.
just drummers need water, and then it will come. I was like pour it in my mouth. I'm not stopping because that's my contribution, and I get to be
Totally.
fed. And that's another. Well, that's a whole. No, that's not even a different topic. That's the same topic. The monk practice of the
Monk.
spirit walk, where you go with a bowl and that's it. You know what I'm saying? And it's called alms, and many cultures have that. We have it too. It's our road family. It just looks a little different.
Oh,
But I have an elder, Orlando, as part of the Rainbow family, who is on that walk. Like he will just go. He has bare feet. He's in bare feet in the desert. He goes, Raven had an experience with him where he's like, Orlando, how do you eat? Like, you don't ever set anything up for yourself or like plan anything. So, like, how do you eat? And Orlando goes, huh. And then he just like waits a minute. And then this car rolls up with like two pieces of pizza for him. And they go, Orlando, I thought you might be hungry. And it's just like, he's like this. That's how I eat. And like, there are people out there on the ultimate fool walk.
yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, and so that is the classic. But it's interesting in the monk traditions. I'm not sure. It's so prayer based. It seems quite solemn. It doesn't seem as like playful, or something.
But how many different faces are there of the sacred fool, right? Like there's the really quiet babies that people just look in their eyes and like, I think I just found the world peace question answer or whatever, like I think I just realized what my life's all about. I just looked in that baby's eyes. Like it's just something, yeah, like I feel like there's just different versions of the sacred fool. It's that vibration of like it's like Christ consciousness meets like your inner child and they're hanging out.
Okay, that brings me to. Can I recite the like sign I'm gonna put up at our retreat center?
Totally.
For years, I've been working on this sign, but I think it's meant to be birthed like at the right moment when we're like opening the doors for the whole experience. But it says it's a big like rainbow with like neon colors that are like dripping down, and it says like,
Mm,
"Be as little children, and you shall enter the kingdom of heaven." And
yes.
that's the Christ consciousness meets inner child. And from that teaching, the concept is do that and you shall be given everything you need and more. Like the idea is, and I've been trying to walk that. It's definitely intimidating in the face of like money and needing things to happen at a certain time and schedules, but spirit keeps saying do the inner child thing, like do the kingdom of heaven. And the kingdom of heaven dream for me is just you play. Like when I first got to this property, spirit said I could sit at the fire and drum and like meditate and everything I need would be built. And it's pretty much been that way. Like it's kind of and I've been the one fighting that, going, we need to schedule, we need to plan, we need. Except when we don't schedule and plan, we get like these jobs where, like, for example, my homie down the street said we need to demolish half of my house, and will you come do that? And what it is full of insulation and drywall. Well, we were building a cabin, and that was our next step. So we keep getting work where they have all the materials for our next step, and it's like bizarrely aligned, and we're getting that by doing nothing. By Raven is like meditating and doing self-care, and he gets a call for the next material that is right aligned with our project. And I'm like, I don't even know how this is possible, but it keeps happening, so I should trust it.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So that's the ultimate walk, is like believing it'll happen, believing that when you set your goal and intention, whatever it may be, that spirit will provide, and that's the faith.
Yeah, well, you're speaking to, the next thing is like, how to evoke the sacred fool in our mind, our body, our soul, and where to start. And I feel like, it's that return to self. It really, I feel that. And the return, like the act of self-care, the act of self-love, the act of like, let me return a little bit more to my own, and let me do some work. Let me express more of myself. Like it's something like it doesn't happen through anyone else. It's very much like in action of self. Like people are like, I want to be like, how do I be more like you? Like you gotta actually let your body go a little bit. Like move, you gotta actually do the movement yourself. You can't actually witness it fully and just learn it intellectually.
Yes, we're talking about faith, trust, and embodiment, basically.
Mm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and those are kind of vague, so I want to give people an idea. I mean, we're going to do this at the end, that there are like certain activities they can do, but as far as so ways to evoke in mindset, I think it's like, well, that's it, faith and trust. So this TED Talk I saw, I think it's Catherine Price, she talks about a trifecta of fun. And it's like when I wrote this down, I drew it out as like a Venn diagram of three, right? And they overlap: playfulness, presence, and flow. And when you combine those three things, that she's done like research on this, it seems to be what evokes the act of fun. And so it's very important to be present. Like that's a huge deal. And then playfulness, well, people need to work out their trauma to access that.
Totally.
And flow is kind of just like the same, the trust, the faith in the universe thing. And that seems to be what interlocks to create that state of like, oh my God, when I was with my homie and we were just being present, we were doing whatever we want. And then that was the fool, like that was the free flow. And then suddenly they came and gave us $100 just standing outside the gas station. I mean, I know that was a lot of my experience on the road, is that when we were playing in the middle of Texas, like the most people walking in spurs, there's like Trump protesters outside. Like we were like, we are not going to make $1 here. What is happening? So we just like gave up and had fun. People start handing us hundreds. It's
Wow.
like literally the universe just rewards joy, I swear.
That is it. Joy, simcha means joy for those who don't know. So I'm really into the joy game. And I think, like when I had a moment where I was like, oh, that's why he named me Simcha. You were born and then your rabbi is growing up like, and your parents, they figure the Hebrew name for you in the pilgrimage. And it has been such a journey of practice to find joy. Like when I think of ways to evoke joy in hard times, is also coming to the wisdom of whatever's happening by working through, like Simcha is also like what we are celebrating, the joy to celebrate based off of whatever it is. And it's almost like the gratitude of that moment, or what I'm learning about myself through this hardship, or like what belief system I'm working through, or what trigger is being really, like whatever that is. Like when I think of the triggeredness or that hard moment or whatever else, there's an opportunity there to see how we can evoke joy in us. And for me, it's been finding sacred actions that I really like to do, like I'm so grateful I'm an artist, because after painting for a little bit of time, or writing for a little bit of time, or dancing for a little bit of time, or drumming for a little bit of time, or singing for a little bit of time, like there's so many sacred actions we can do, but then there's also the action of just feeling through the heart and like allowing space to be held and just allowing emotions to come. And I tackle back and forth between like, these are the ways to evoke it, because everyone has a different way of finding joy. Like you just take our sister Gina to the trees and all of a sudden she's okay. Like everyone has their way of where they find heaven on earth, like you were speaking about earlier. So yeah, I'm curious if you have any ways you wish to share of like evoking the sacred fool.
Yeah, well, lately my favorite one, I've been watching a lot of Queer Eye, and because it's just like hyper joy, and my favorite one is being a gay boy lately, like leaning into my queerness and actually letting myself be like, oh my God, yes, I love a grilled cheese sandwich. Like it just everything, like whatever the mundane thing, what they like to say on that show is, I love a cropped t-shirt. Like they just, everything they have, they love. Like, the one guy was like, we've done marine varnish on the floors. And he's like, I love a marine varnish. Like they don't even know what it is, but they love it.
I love a good Thursday.
I love a Thursday morning. And so it's just that for me has been one way I've been leaning into joy, is like bring out my inner gay boy who I always thought I was. I know it's like a very specific example, but that community has had so much adversity. I've noticed in communities of adversity, sometimes they really lean into that. They have to. And that's what turns it around. Think of like people dancing against the soldiers in apartheid. Like there's extreme examples of that, where people have taken joy like in the most extreme of situations.
There's more subtle ways of like how many Jew comedians are there like bringing
Oh yeah.
comedy to everything, like just it's amazing.
Yeah, and so that's like the wide examples, but to give people a specific, let me see. Oh, I wrote down singing, babbling, and talking to yourself. Starting
Yes.
to be create sounds around your space without regard for who's listening. And they could be, to me, it's been really healing when I do that. I notice my sounds are like more autistic, like more baby stuff, more, the sounds seem to be coming from wherever I was stopped healing at, wherever my trauma. So I think of trauma as different ages. So when I'm doing intimate work with my family, like I become like a baby in the living room. There's like an inner baby that needs held and cared for. So whatever age that is, it's kind of what my daily babble to myself is when I'm being really natural. So there's an interesting correlation between like your inner child's age where they got stuck and the way that they express themselves.
Mm-hmm.
My trauma happened early, so I have a very baby sensibility when it comes to expressing with them. And so for the listener to babble and sing and talk to yourself and then make that normal. Like you have to start not giving a shit what your roommate thinks, what your partner thinks. I would hope that you're with a safe person who actually loves you for who you are, who isn't going to think twice or look twice about that. And then raise your volume. Practice raising your volume. I've noticed that when I use volume as like a metric to see how free I am. It's not that you always have to be at a high volume if you don't feel it, but I've noticed that when I'm feeling really stuck inside, I'll like whisper to myself in my own space. Like, and I live in the middle of the desert. Like, ain't no one can hear me for miles, and I'm still whispering to myself in my own room. I mean, what's up with that? So that tells me something about my current freedom level. And when I'm just like singing, vibing, doing my thing, like that's my joy. That's me getting my own joy at life, and that tends to be louder and more expressive. So you can kind of work with that. See where your edges are. When I get loud, how does it feel?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And also, I think that's something that is super helpful to engage the sacred fool is to not do it alone. Like to call up, like call up a friend that is willing to be exploratory with you or experiential with you, whatever that is. And I think that in that way, there's also like a council element of Sacred Fool that I love to practice, which is actually when I'm triggered or in some sort of state, if I can get that belief system written down and in front of me and see like how I can be a sacred fool to like, what if this isn't true?
Mm.
Like, what if this isn't true anymore? Is this true? How much of my power do I want to get this thing? Like, if this really keeps coming up, like, what is this?
Mm.
And being curious in that sacred full way, I think is really helpful with my mindset things to get some of these things loosened up of, we're always working on the worthiness, self-love, enoughness. Like it's part of our human condition. And so how can we continue to like look at it and be with it and just be in relationship with it, listen to it.
I have a couple ideas on that. First, I was wondering if you could explain for people the belief wall exercise that we do, the negative beliefs, because it's always a negative belief. So can you give them the quick download on the post-its?
Yeah, we had a ceremony and pretty much we had a plus sign on one and then negative sign on the other. And we throughout the ceremony, we would have breathwork experiences or a grief ceremony. We had all these different opportunities for people to really connect, and we would carry around this thing the entire time so that while things were happening, someone's like, I want to let go of this belief system right now. You can write down and post it, you put it on the board. And then throughout the night, when there's at some point there's a moment for breakthrough, for a new thought to be written, whether it comes up at first or at the end, like to be able to write down the new belief system and having both be witnessed and to practice. It's like wearing a sweater or something. It's just like the belief, it's like, today I'm going to believe that I am so lovable. And it's like, and then like all of a sudden I'm loving on everyone. And so of course everyone's going to love me in return, like it's not that complicated.
We're speaking to a choice of sovereignty. So this
Yes.
whole idea that Some people will try to tell you when you're depressed, it's really hard to hear that like you can choose happiness. It's so hard to understand that you can choose that because it really feels like you are just down in the mires. But if you actually just choose, like, I used to write on my wall, like, happiness is a choice. And so the sovereignty to decide to change your belief system with a simple act of journaling it down and choosing a new one, trying on like a sweater. Like, what would my life be like today if I chose that joy was my reality? If I chose that I'm loud, if I chose that I'm the sparkliest one on the dance floor, if I chose to wear the sequin get up instead of the like gray sweater, if what if I wore the neon outfit instead of that guy? Like, can I do that? Am I free to do that? What will it bring up? How will I work toward that? Like, I'm just really about finding out how people can express bigger and bigger expression, because I don't believe people want to be terrified of each other at the grocery store. It doesn't look like the world that we should be in.
Totally. And I think it's a choice, but I don't think we can, I think it might be a little bit of just shoving shit down if we just go to like, I believe I'm loved now.
Yeah, you don't want to spiritually bypass it, right?
And so I think that there's some feeling through, but I think that there's also an action of like, at one point in my life, I did not know the difference between actions and like them being rooted in self-love or self-hate. Like, the helpful or the hurtful actions. I had to ask myself, what would love do? And then if I didn't know the answer, I'd be like, and I would put in my mentor, a friend, someone who loves me, someone who I feel like can really hold, what would they do for me right now? Like, oh man, they would draw up a bath and they would say, get in and just leave yourself. Like, just let me put some salt in here and we're just going to lay in the bath for a little bit. When you get out, then we're going to like make some tea. They would just like take care of me for a moment. And in 20 minutes of just doing that thing that feels a little gooey, but might make us feel better, whatever way that is, like, I think acknowledges it in a way to then like choose towards happiness. Just like you say, joy leads, like it doesn't need to be that like I'm feeling like shit and also I'm like, but it's okay, I'm just gonna choose to shit out right now. How you guys doing? Like it's so
it works for some people. It doesn't always work. You need to maybe feel through the blocks. Yeah. So you're saying self-care is a great action step. Taking one little self-care maneuver usually raises the vibe.
Yeah, it could be one step. It doesn't need to be so dramatic, is pretty much like, like I think there's also being compassionate to like, we might need a day of like being kind of down.
Yeah, I'm working on embracing the down day. I'm a very production oriented person. I want to have 5 good business days, but lately my nervous system is like, you don't get 5 good days. Like, you get to totally repair on every other day or something. So I get to honor that more and more.
Mm-hmm. And I also, it's something I've been practicing is like the things that are like really intense in community, that's like a different element. And then there's like connecting on something like a Zoom, and then there's like connecting through text. And then there's just like connecting with self. There's like creating something for someone to talk to them like the next day. Like there's so many different ways of like being in our place and still like somehow staying connected, as like I feel like we're just community space holders, and a lot of what we do is like being someone who shows up and is there to hold whatever's there, and to create opportunities for people to be able to show up. And so with that being said, it just feels like staying connected to humanity just a little bit doesn't mean that it needs to be super productive in the same way, like I've been trying to play with that of like, it is winter, there's in every event that I have, it keeps snowing, so they keep getting canceled. So I'm like, I thought I was gonna be busier, but I ain't, like it's just
a tough one for me personally. I'm like, I live in a remote area, so if the event's canceled, I'm like, that was my event for the next 2 weeks. Like, it gets really dark.
Rescheduled for this weekend, but now it's supposed to snow again. So like, it's this interesting thing of like, how do we function in this? And like, it doesn't need to be so like, I got to go in and hold some intense ceremony and do some ecstatic dance. Like there's so many other ways for us to be in the sacred fullness of how we can be with our day to feel productive, to feel connected to our purpose is what makes me feel productive, like
purpose is what it is.
Yeah. It's more connection.
Yeah. And so that brings me to a couple things. First, random idea, like I would like to just get on Zoom and like do art next to someone. like having a
Yeah.
what they call parallel play, where it's just you're just there in the room, and we get to play on our own thing. That's a really like light nervous system thing for works really well for triggered systems. And then second, just the idea of connection with the universe is like in ourself. Like this is what the real revelation is for me under all of it, is like, wow, since I do have this cool spiritual challenge of being in a remote area of the desert and being with myself most of the time and being able to like really go into that heart space, and a lot of my healing has been just like a cracking open of the heart. It's like all under there, the grief of childhood, the deep trauma experiences to crack open, and the more I like let the purge out of my heart, and then there's less of a wall there to connect with God, basically me, God. Like the woman you had sent me her podcast, if you remember her name, of just like how she's like the entire thing is about self-pleasure. It's about not chasing pleasure outside of ourselves. That really turned something around for me. I'm going to listen again. The self-pleasure of it all. It's like everything we're trying to do, even when we're working on our sacred work, it's like chasing this outside dopamine rush. And I've noticed that when I turn the outside in, there's a completely different experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Her name is Aliette Polinsky, and she created the Manifestation Method podcast. It's on Spotify. Yeah, I was listening to it while also feeling into like the sacred fool, but it was also just something that just was like, you need to listen to me now. It's like the little God voice, and it was like guiding us, like, you don't know why you're going over the bush, but you're gonna find out later there's a bone in there, like, or something. And so in this podcast, the bone that I got out was very much how joy can create newness. Joy can create pleasure, and pleasure, there is newness. Like there's something to our light being able to cast creation in a way. And that felt really beautiful for me to think into how to be a fool that's doing my best to be in the creation of light based off how I'm responding to the world around me with how it is right now, because there's a lot of people that are in a traumatic response right now. And I'm doing my best, honestly, to like take a step back from needing to be informed and doing more of the individual space holding, because that is the way I can contribute instead of me just being in freeze myself. No, I'm a space holder. So like, it's been interesting to be a sacred fool, to being like, I don't really know what's happening, and I really don't really want to know. Can I just be what's happening for you? What's happening for you is like that. Like I care so much about what's happening in the world, and also like I can only deal with what's happening in front of me truly, fully, and hold it with a sacred fool, and be open to the newness and the creation and what's possible based off of what's in front of me, not what's not in front of me.
Well, the world that. So even the sentence, there's so much bad going on in the world, is first of all a terrible spell to cast. Totally. And it's also, yeah, but not for you. I just mean you're right. And that's what's weird about the news stuff is that there's bad stuff going on in very specific cities and pockets around the world. And people are blowing it into a bigger spell by constantly looking at it and worrying about it. So people have created the "it's very bad in the world" spell even larger. And I'm not downplaying what's going on. It's just they've created that larger and larger. That's what the media does. They're selling a negative spell, and so it gets bigger.
And by focusing on it, and then it's happening in whatever cities they're focusing on it, because there's a lot of people focusing on it. So the same thing's happening because that's where their intention is to create the same chaos.
It's very difficult when it's like the one of abundance. It's like the abundance path when you say, I'm worried about money. And so spirit goes, oh, great, we're going to give you more worrying about money.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're focusing on.
It's exactly the thing.
It's just going to keep happening.
Yeah, it's what is it? Well, there's resist, persist, and then there's what you focus on, manifest. And so the real challenge, especially in like a moment of low cash, is to focus on, I love my abundant life. I love having millions and thousands of all these dollars coming toward me. I love pulling in abundance from my value. Like all these, it's definitely a challenge, but it's the same thing with the world is so bad story. And it's like, the world is so beautiful. Let me focus on all these spiritual healers that are out here. Let me notice what I notice, because I stay on the positive side of that, is how many people are thriving into spiritual business and how many people are putting out new offerings, and it's not even competition. It's like collaboration. It's like, we need more offerings. We got so many people needs healed. This is going to be the best business of 2020, whatever, to to go into healing arts and help everyone. Let's all go into healing arts. You know what I'm saying?
Everyone's ready. I think we've been preparing for this moment, and it's whatever people choose into whatever teacher they feel called to. Like, I want to go spend time with that one, and yeah.
Really enough for everyone. I mean, I'm sure everyone could have 10 clients, that are exactly love their vibe.
I could have 4 mentors, and I would get different medicine from each one of them. Like, and all my friends are like also friend-tours, like I feel like they all come with friend-tours. Like, I can go to each one of them for something different and be like, hey, can we discuss, like, can you hold space or something? Like, I feel like I have a rad group of freaking people on my team. And I also think that I couldn't just go to one either. So I love the abundance of what's happening. And we all bring such different medicine.
Can we describe the idea of a weave for people that don't have that in their life? We're really blessed to have this at this moment right now, to have something where you have a network of humans. Can you describe what that would be, or where someone could find that?
I mean, a weave. I mean, we've created our own weave in so many different ways, but the thing that we do is like sacred invitation by the person that's in the circle to the thing. And it's based in sacred economy. It's based in community. It's based in like an old ancient practice that like when we focus on one person in our community and give them whatever our gifts are, and whatever, well, all we can say is how can we support you? And just say yes, of course. It's like us all humbly being in service to someone and then switching to another person. We all switch positions until everyone has an opportunity to be asked, how can we support you? And we be in that act. And in that, there's giving and there's receiving. And we all step into different acts and parts of ourselves. And I think that what it creates for me is this ability to see how we are all connected, how mycelium network really is, because I love how we are all sharing like the same code is coming out of us. Like, the thing I'm learning is like it's like 7 different ways of seeing the same freaking thing. And it's like, cool, we're all in the collective channel. It's so affirming to have counsel. It's so also deepening, because I learned so much from what they share about the same thing that I'm feeling in some way, if that makes sense. Did I explain it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like a way. I just wish for everyone that they join, whether it's online or in person, some kind of spiritual community, like some kind of group where you're then interweaving with members of your community, just so people can stop feeling so isolated. I think isolation is really the big spell that needs changed at the moment. And we're going from people feeling lost and alone to people being completely loved and valued in community in purpose, right? Like, that's the move. And that's what we do and offer in both our circles and in the circles we're part of. And then everyone joins each other's circles, and it just becomes like, whoa. And then suddenly spiritual economy starts flourishing, because I'm in this...
using each other.
What did you say?
We're using each other instead of using others.
Yes, instead of everyone outsourcing their services, we're using each other's services for all the things. It becomes so beautiful. I'm part of a group right like that right now in the high desert, and it's becoming so... Just like, and this is like a different, we're going to do another one on spiritual economy, but just real quick, it's like, I always want to say all the things in one episode, but I just get excited. But one thing that's happening is that I notice is that when it's a very like it's a very spiritual economic decision, is when it's like a win-win-win-win-win for everybody. So there's an example of, I was going to work on video with someone, and they only had a certain budget per month. And I was like, okay, well, instead of me doing all the work, I can actually consult you. In that budget, I can consult you on the work. So now I'm teaching them how to fish. And then the video is actually featuring my business that's getting released. And me helping them on the YouTube channel is allowing all of my sisters in the town to increase their business, because she's going to be posting a video about each one. So I'm experiencing this like, yes, like win for everybody by doing this one simple counsel, because I chose not to do the work myself, but to coach her to do the work. And so now it's going to become this like bigger thing, which is going to, her goal is to get everyone business in the community from the people in the bigger cities who need our help. So
that's beautiful.
Beautiful things like that can happen in spiritual counsel, like you're saying.
And like going back to that original thing of everyone has such a different contribution, you know, because Mia's like this photographer who also is a facilitator, who's also the sound thing, who also, you know, like is a performer myself. There's so many different ways that we can show up to these acts to be in service to our community. And when the two of us are together, what we are able to create together, just adding a third person, you know, like it's like have more than two and then watch out. And also like get ready for all the relationship codes, for all of the healing for the sacred fool, for us to be in like in a play box playing like little kids again who love each other and love themselves, you
playing
know?
in the garden.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that's what the Christians are trying to scream out to the world. They're like, just, you know, and there's Christians who are really righteous on that message, and there are Christians who are doing some other thing. But the message that they're trying to, the guy in the corner is trying to be like, Jesus like wants to give you everything you need. Like just like love, just follow what he said. Like play as a child in the garden. Like come on. And so just scream. I want to scream that from the rooftop sometimes because I'm like, it works. Holy crap! When I start playing, I get a call for work. Like it's the weirdest thing.
It's so weird and beautiful. Whenever I get any type of reading, literally the person's like, Jesus is here and like ready. Like I know he's like a big brother. He's like hot and ready to give you some information for you. I'm like, that's my brother. What's up, big bro? Awesome. I love him so much. I hope I'll be just like him. I hope.
Oh my God, beautiful. Should we wrap up?
Yeah, well, is there anything that you would like to invite people that are listening to into to get more of you?
Oh, more of me? Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, right now I'm offering beautiful feral drum circles out in the high desert near Joshua Tree. We're going to be doing a big party coming up, and then we'll be doing a full moon ceremony at my place. So if you're in the high desert or LA, you can come to my circles. We'll post all those links. And I'm also offering private ceremony, which has been going really beautifully. So we've been experiencing breakthroughs at private medicine ceremony out at my land where people are really like accessing their deepest traumas and moving them out. So we do like the deep dive, almost like the MAPS level, like trauma healing experience. We do like the initial, oh my God, I have PTSD and I need to burst the bubble ceremony, and it's beautiful. We integrate play, we integrate Reiki, crystals, drums, all the things. And I'm also taking on one-on-one coaching clients, which is also really beautiful for what I call liberation sessions, where we are going in and clearing the blocks in the way to finding your soul's true work. So I'm really passionate about helping people find their soul purpose and their real calling and their biggest dream. Like not like the tiny dream, not the like, I think I might want to be a writer, but like one of my clients is like, I think I might want to be a writer. And then we like did some shamanic work and some trance and movement. And then she comes out like, I want to open a school in Tibet. Like it was like, it's like I'm trying to get the big dream out of the soul where I know it lives. That's my work. So if you're interested in those sessions, check out all the links around here. And what about you? What are you offering right now?
So in the world of Simcha Guten Plan, I'm in New Jersey based, but we also do things in Philly. I have a bunch of events that are coming up, and we'll see how they come up with the snow and when this also reaches you. And there's things tomorrow night to the next day to the next day. And so if you want to see any of the events and you're around the New Jersey area, you should go to thisholylife.com and go to the event page. It's also like the dash event list, if you can see. The links will be down there. And we've been holding ecstatic dances and experiences for all of the pagan holidays. I've been learning more and more about them, which has been really beautiful. We have Imbolc coming up next, the 7th of February, and then it will be Beltane after that. So we have them all lined up. So that's things we're offering. And I also teach Kundalini at Time Travelers every Tuesday evening. And if you wish to join the virtual space, meaning those who are near and far. You can come be in the Holy School. We meet Tuesdays at noon, and it's facilitated by me and my sister Gina. And we really go through this weave of the four worlds, if you will. I'll say that simply. And it's a monthly membership of $22 a month. We meet every week, and you have access to all the recordings, and we also run a WhatsApp space. So I also do one-on-one sessions and work with medicines. We do retreats, all those other things. If you wish to know more about me, you should join my Substack email list so I can send you not only like the things, but write you poetry and send you readings from the Oracle deck and whatever else I feel inspired to do, and things like this that Wolfpack and I are doing.
Everything. Oh my goodness.
Oh my God, all the things. And I think that's it. If you want to know anything else, then just ask. I'm here. Love, love. With that being said, let this podcast, let this share make an impact. I know that I feel this impact within me. So thank you, Wolfpack. Thank you, Simcha. Thank you, Space, Place, and Time, for this recording. Thank you to the technology and all this working. Thank you to both of the lands that we're on and all the space between that we've been on. And I pray that something in this has moved whoever listens to this, that it ripples in their life, into their community's life, into the world at large. Let our work be for the goodness of greatness, that there be heaven on earth. Meow, 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 meow,
meow, meow, meow. Amen.
meow, meow, meow. Thank you.
Yay.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.